Ladies and gentlemen, now it's Monday, so next episode on coldemonspl is just starting. Today the second part of the series about working on the great Soviet monster, the IS-2. Last Monday we finished building the model completely with all the additions and modifications I wanted to make. The model looks awesome and today we need to add some colors to it. To refresh my memory, I reached for a book from the AK about painting vehicles during World War II. The two second pieces of information that I need are primarily the primer color and the camo color. The first one is, put it simply, dark grey, which will only be visible on the bottom of the hull, so it will only be applied there. The proper color of the vehicle is Protective K, which is the best match in this situation. I treat it as a base, so in the end the color on the model will differ significantly from the initial one. I started the work by preparing the metal surfaces. All of them received a layer of primer which will increase adhesion. I applied the product to both small elements and the barrel using a brush, but it can also be done with an airbrush. As I mentioned, I applied a dark primer to the bottom of the hull. I think that this isn't very often seen with Soviet vehicles because modelers usually avoid this part by not painting it at all or cover the entire model with green paint. For me, similarly to German vehicles, this part of the hull is the most inaccessible surface of the tank, so I assume that the workers or soldiers involved in painting probably didn't care about it as much as other parts of the vehicle. Painting a vehicle green is not a big deal without any sophisticated methods or solutions. Simply cover the surface with proper green paint. No compromises, no unnecessary playing with some magic tricks, just a simple, quick painting. But truly speaking, some kind of magic will come later. For the truck color I have my proven color mixture of black, dark brown and silver. This is a perfect shade for later weathering. With the trucks already on the table, I painted the traces left by the road and drive wheels. I painted, or rather drew, the polished metal with a pencil and rubbed it with a silicone tip and a bit of gunmetal pigment. The polished trucks are through steel wheels, which I also prepare in a metallic finish, but I do it by painting the edges with silver paint. I prepare the drive wheels in a similar way where I rub all the teeth properly on all sides. The next stage of painting the green is to prepare two levels of highlights. The first is a mixture of paint in ratio of 70% of the base color and 30% of lighter shade. Note that the shade is quite cold, completely different than if you added yellow. And it's that little bit of magic that turns green into even more green and then adds even more green. The difference is significant, which can be seen perfectly here by comparing the hull and the turret of the tank. The second layer of highlights is 50-50 ratio. The difference will be easily visible. Now some fake shadows. I wonder if there is anything here that needs commenting, but probably not. Just more painting. I lightened all the details by painting them with a brush. Olive green shade gave a big contrast. I can say that at one point I started to wonder if I had chosen the right color, but after the paint dried I stopped having doubts. Everything is okay. To paint the tactical numbers I used stickers from a model I had built some time ago. Of course I could have painted the numbers by hand, but I decided that this inscription would look much better. The whole process of preparing the stickers was very simple. Before weathering, I decided to prepare all the elements that were to enrich the appearance of the model. First I prepared the tarps. I used previously colored pieces of paper tissue. Now I will soak them again in paint and PVA glue. Drying with an accelerator is useful if we don't want to waste time. It's enough to bring the paper to a state in which it won't dirty the fingers. Before laying, I moistened the surface with tap water. This will make it easier to shape the paper properly. It's worth using tweezers for laying, but you have to be careful not to damage the paper, unless that is our goal, to make controlled tears in it. For the final laying, it's worth using a few drops of PVA glue. And now it's a perfect time to mention my super patrons. It's become my tradition, but believe me, these are people worth mentioning in every episode. Massive thanks guys for your support. The people who helped me the most are Bulldog09, Christopher Obarski, Dale Etchison, Dan Dibua, Dan Mike Shack, EMT364, Eric Kirwan, Hans Zub, Peter L, Steve Enkin and the awesome Karsten Keddy. But the people listed just now are also my great patrons. Please don't forget that you can be one of them. And I realize it's not easy these days, but if you have a few bucks you could drop in my cup, that would be great. Thanks! Oh, and one more thing. Remember that if you join for free you probably won't be able to view my work. Better try the 7 days free trial, which will give you many more possibilities. Traditionally, a piece of chain appeared on the model, which after lying on the mudguard was glued with a few drops of sand and ballast freeze. Tapping the model several times made it easier to arrange the chain properly, exactly as it would happen while driving. You can say that the chain adapted to itself and to the shapes of the mudguard. A tarp also appeared on the engine plate. This time it's in a different color and I additionally matched it with a jerry can and elements of the ramrod for the German Tiger, which will be visible in a moment. I attached the towing cables to the rear of the vehicle by gluing them to the model with CA glue. This arrangement is very often seen on the vehicles from the war period. Finally, the entire model was covered with a thin layer of glossy varnish, preparing it for further weathering, which will be shown in the next episode. That's all for today, see you next time, cheers!